Written in the sky over Tel Aviv, the story of just how quickly and decisively this conflict has escalated. Central Israeli suburbs taking direct hits from an enormous barrage of rockets fired out of Gaza, concentrated into a few short minutes, a proportion piercing the Iron Dome interceptor defenses. As military hardware was transported closer to the Gaza border, Israel's Prime Minister, Defense Minister and Internal Security Service Chief addressed an attack on central Israel, the like of which had not been seen in 3 Gaza wars since 2008.
Hamas and the Islamic Jihad will pay a heavy price for their aggressiveness. The blood is on their hands.
Hamas had warned of a major strike on Tel Aviv if Israel targeted residential buildings in Gaza. A little after sunset, after telling the families who lived here to get out, Israel's military did just that. The Israeli Prime Minister had warned of a gathering intensity and pace of attack. The army said the building was in part used by Hamas. The promised retaliation came swiftly in a coordinated mass launch towards Tel Aviv. This is a wave after wave of attacks coming out of Gaza now. These rockets are heading in the direction of Tel Aviv. We understand there are already sirens being sounded in Tel Aviv and explosions heard. Hamas had warned that it would launch such an attack if Israel destroyed residential buildings inside Gaza. The destruction of that large building appears to have led to this big escalation in what already was a dangerous situation. It was the second time in a day that such a barrage had been fired. This was the effect of the earlier one in the town of Ashkelon, where 2 women were killed. In Gaza, too, eruptions of overpowering sudden grief. This was the funeral of an 11-year-old boy who was killed on Monday. 1 child among many dead already in the first hours of this conflict. As still another generation experiences firsthand the reality of Israeli airstrikes on this crowded, impoverished, besieged strip of land.
If they want to escalate, the resistance is ready. If they want to stop, the resistance is ready. If they want to move their hand out of Jerusalem, the resistance is ready. This is the message that we deliver to all the sides and to whoever is involved.
And as the crisis deepened between Israel and Gaza's fighting factions, a parallel crisis was breaking out within Israel's mixed Jewish-Arab towns. In Lod, after a Palestinian Israeli was shot dead by a Jewish man the previous night, an explosion of intercommunal violence. This, a synagogue set ablaze. The government is sending in security forces, usually stationed in the occupied West Bank, declaring a state of emergency. After weeks of tension and sparks of violence, the fire has caught and it's spreading. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, Southern Israel.